Hi friends, good morning, good evening as per your time zone. I'm Kumkum Sharma from Bridge and I'm back again on live open sessions. So on the behalf of entire Bridge team, I would like to welcome you here and what we are going to discuss. So normally we discuss the right training, right certification for your career growth. So don't hesitate. Whatever questions you have in your mind, you can ask from our expert. Thank you, Saket, for joining me again on this session. So, guys, agenda is very simple. We are live on LinkedIn, we are live on YouTube. Whatever questions you have, you can drop your questions. I'll include your questions, and Saket will answer your questions. And by asking questions, you'll definitely help yourself and you'll help other professionals as well. So let's jump without wasting any more time. Let's jump on the questions. So these sessions take little more time. People will join slowly, slowly. So we have few questions. So we'll start from our question. So Saket, I'll give you the opportunity how you want to start the session.
Nothing specific. If you have any question, we can start with that. It seems to be the New Year fever is still not over, at least in the long weekend thing here in India. Let's see. Yeah, if we have people who have some questions, we are happy to talk. If not, then also it's okay. Yeah, I think though things keeps getting repeated, yeah, most of our conversation is pretty repeat conversation. But again, maybe it's a repeat for us, but may not be repeat for the person who is joining in. That's the reason we keep doing it. Maybe for you or for whoever comes in, they have their specific queries, and we try to address it. And again, yeah, this is like all about sharing. So one should do their own analysis after hearing us and find your own decision, which can help you in growing. Yeah. So that's the whole thing which we are focusing on. Hi, Sridhar. Welcome to this session. And we start from there. Yeah. So we have some of you joining in on LinkedIn. Good. Yeah. LinkedIn joining is little unusual, but today we have more. Yeah. Good. So if you have anything, Mayank, Harshal, if you have anything which you like to share, please go ahead. If you just want to share something, I will read it out for everyone. That's also a possibility, and we can talk. Hi, hi, Khalid. Good to see you back after a long time. Yeah, I hope you are making good use of your PMP, PMI, PBA, and the other certifications. Okay.
So before everyone, I just want to take the opportunity and I would like to, discuss something with you. So I just would like to, discuss about the coaching area. So I know there is a ATF, there is a agile coaching, there is a CAT. So how the person can take this journey and what stage the professional or the coaches should decide to go for the ATF or agile coaching or the enterprise level CAT.
Okay, so the Agile Team Facilitation Program, which is we call it ICP ATF, is basically a program to grow your or the person who attends facilitation skills. In a simple word, it helps you in running your sprint planning, daily scrum, sprint retrospective meetings well. So if you are working as a Scrum Master, it's a good program to attend. If you are working at some other level, but you are expected to do various Agile meetings, it's a good program to attend because you learn how to design a meeting, what all things you should take care when you are organizing a particular meeting. You learn what kind of activities you should design, includes what kind of activities you should put so that there is a good engagement in the discussion, like ensuring that everybody contributes, ensuring that someone is not hijacking the whole meeting, ensuring someone who is shy in nature is also sharing it. Yeah. So that's the whole idea of Agile team facilitation. Many times when people want to go into coaching space, the first and basic thing they want to ensure is that they have a good facilitation skills, because in our coaching competency space as well, facilitation is something needed all the time. Yeah, so that's Agile team facilitation. Now you can do as a Scrum Master. Now, if you want to go further in your Agile coaching space, then the basic program you should look at, the Agile coaching basic program is ICP ACC. So ATF is specified for facilitation. You can do with coaching, without coaching, that's there. But if you want to learn what is agile coaching to start with, I usually say it's like a certified Scrum Master for agile coaching. The way Scrum Master usually end up doing CSM program to understand what is the role of a Scrum Master. On the same way, you do ICP ACC to understand the perspective of agile coaching. Now, just by doing a certificate, you don't become a agile coach. Similarly, like by doing a CSM, you don't become a Scrum Master. You understand the roles and responsibility and the overall details of it, and then you can find out how to grow there. On a same line, ICP ACC helps you in understanding the whole context. Then as you grow, as you look forward, there could be other certification programs you can pick up based on the opportunity you are getting in your organization. Like we run one more program, we call it ICP Agile Coaching Agile Transformation, CAT, which is primarily designed for leading the transformation journey. So designing the transformation, coming up with a roadmap, thinking about the assessments and reviewing the whole transformation journey and guiding the other coaches so that we can execute the transformation journey. So specifically the transformation piece is covered in the 14 hours of content around, and we call it ICP CAT. So these are the programs, but I believe ICP ACC is a good program to start with. Okay, so that's the thing. So there is a question: with so much uncertainty and layoff, which certification one should do in the IT to flourish in the career? What is your perspective? So like, I don't have an absolute answer, but I have been discussing it with various people in our community, in our groups. And we are also keeping eye on some of the organizations where such kind of discussions are happening. So now what we are learning is that more and more delivery skills might be needed along with facilitation, coaching, and leadership skills. So if I'm working as a Scrum Master, I probably need to have something additional than Scrum Master, and that helps me in contributing to the delivery. Because see, the facilitation, transformation, and coaching skills, many organizations may look it as a temporary duration need. Once the things get settled down, they want more focus on the delivery. So if I am in a delivery space, maybe with the agile or non-agile, I probably add some add-on skills to me. Usually the people and professionals who are inexperienced and they have been doing delivery for a while, they find getting into requirement related discussions, requirement management, backlog management relatively more compatible than getting into hardcore technical work, because they might have lost the touch of doing things rather than just knowing, but doing is becomes a little difficult for many of those professionals. So we see that many of the Scrum Masters and the project managers, so Scrum Masters may end up learning some of the product management or product ownership role, which can help them in contributing some work or some part of their job into requirement exploration. May not necessarily as a prioritizer, as a product owner, but at least a requirement exploration. Some of the Scrum Masters may also end up assisting into project management activities if you are working in the service-based industries. So depending upon my own career details, about my past history, I need to see which kind of delivery roles I want to be comfortable with. In general, we see the product ownership, product management like CSPO, POPM, if you are working in a safe, is getting little more traction from last 2 weeks. And in the delivery space, in a project management space, we do see a PMP also getting little more traction from last 2 weeks. So that's a general conversation. Again, things will emerge, but that's what we are observing here. Yeah. Okay, so we have another question. Saket, when seeing a lot of knowledge areas and documents required as a good project manager, but in reality for conducting a similar project, I'm not sure how many can be maintained or not, might be predictive, not for Scrum. So say the current view of project management is not documentation and artifact oriented. If you read the PMBOK 7, it hardly tells you to prepare a document. Now, what it tells you to achieve a goal. So even in a PMBOK 7, they are okay not to even have a risk register. Yeah, but you need to have a mechanism to take care of risks. So the documentation is a one tool to manage knowledge, manage collaboration. But if you have a better tools, you can use that. Some of the alternative could be frequent interaction. So if you're working in a space where people can come together and talk, and you just need some reminders, and things are changing very fast, so putting them into a document doesn't matter. If something is relevant today, it may not be relevant tomorrow, so you just remove it. So the project management as a PMI, as a body, is not telling you to prepare a 20, 30, 40 documents. It is all about us in our organization, where we decide for what kind of requirement we need a documented thing, and for other we can live without documented things. For example, I may not need a separate scope management plan. I can live without scope management plan, but I should have some clarity about how are we going to talk, discover, prioritize, validate, and accept the scope. If this is pretty standardized in my organization, we understand this is how the scope related things happens. I may not, the project management body of knowledge is not at all saying that you must have something called scope management plan. You must have an understanding of how to do a scope management, but may not be documented. Yeah, but some things should be very clearly understood. Similarly goes for quality management. If you say my organization has a quality process, we just follow that. You can live without quality management plan. Same for communication. You can say my organization has a defined set of process to communicate. You need to do weekly meeting, monthly meeting, this. You don't have to create a communication management plan separately. You can just live with your current communication approaches. But it means you have a clarity about how the various communications will be done, who are the participants to it. Now, it could be a general standard practice which you all follow. So it depends upon your organization to find out what all things we need to document and what all things we should not be documenting. Now, when you are dealing with a PMP exam, you just should know that if some document has been mentioned, yeah, then we can say that we understand what is that particular thing might contain. So if I'm a project manager and someone says, oh, this is our quality management plan information, then I should understand what possibly will be a content of quality management plan, and I can get that information from there. So that much understanding is only needed for PMP exam. You don't have to know the format of the document, and it is definitely not mandatory from a PMBOK perspective to say that. Yeah. So I take this question in continuation. I think there is a more on PMP space. So I take it further. So in my entire career, I was more focusing on predictive project, and the PMP exam is concentrated both predictive and agile. But moving towards Scrum or Agile, how the predictive projects are going to be altered in the few years ahead. So see, the whole idea here is that it is not about A is good over B. Yeah. So recently, after a long time, I took a flight travel. Now, should I compare traveling by flight against traveling by car? If I'm traveling in my own car, I have a lot of flexibility. I can decide whatever time I want to leave. There could be a 20 minutes delay, there could be a half an hour delay. I don't have to think about packing the things. It's too much flexibility there. But when I'm going by a plane, I have to plan too much in advance. I need to keep contingency. I need to reach there, wait there, and do all these things. But can I say that the plane travel is should not be taken? Yeah, like I have to go to that waterfall approach in plane travel, which is pretty waste of time, but overall it saves time. It can move me like few thousands kilometer in a few hours. If I go by car, I won't reach there. So it is like, but definitely it's a predictive life cycle. Going through a plane is a pure predictive life cycle. I need to book 15 days in advance. There is a cost of cancellation. If I am going by car, I can decide in the night, oh, I'm not going tomorrow. Yeah, probably. So the rework cost is very less for me. So all predictive life cycle comes when I'm traveling by plane, but there are travels which has to be done by a plane only. There are. Yeah. So we need to see what is the context, and that is what the PMI is trying to teach us. It is trying to teach that there is a place where predictive life cycle will be applied. There will be a place where adaptive life cycle will be applied. Yeah. So we need to first be ready to handle both. Yeah. That's the whole thing. Now, why adaptive focus is coming more? So as the PMI PMBOK 7 is pointing out, the world is becoming more and more uncertain, and it is also becoming complex. it is becoming more and more difficult to plan things in advance. You can see, even if you want to plan a holiday, how complex it is becoming because of this COVID-19 and all those situations. It's very difficult to plan where you can go on holiday after 2 months. You don't know what will change in 2 months. Yeah. So since the world is becoming so much complex, it requires more frequent feedbacks. We need to do things which can be rolled back faster. We need to do things which can be flexible in nature. And that's why good portion of your project, or at least some part of your project, will require fast feedback loop, because that part is dealing with the complexity. Complexity means you can't predict things in advance. When I can't predict things in advance, I need to take a fast feedback cycle. And agile way of working is taking a fast feedback cycle. Yeah, that's what we have to, and that's why project management body of knowledge wants us to learn. So we need to learn that. Now, I was again talking to one of our class, and I was just metaphorically thinking. So when you have a slippery surface and you need to walk, you take small steps, because you are walking in the unknown territory. If you take big steps, you may fall. You want to be slow, but you want to make sure that you are going good. Yeah, you want to make very strengthened steps. But when you have a very smooth surface, you may jump from one step to another step. You know the surface well. So predictive life cycle is that you know the ground. Yeah, you know the ground. You can do whatever you want. This is the same path I have been traveling. There is a good track laid out. The adaptive life cycle is a place where the ground is unknown to you. So you need to test the ground, then only you can probably speed up your process. So it is not good or bad. It is all about the context. But agile is needed more because the more and more ground is becoming unknown. Yeah, more and more we are walking on a slippery surface as the world is moving, because the surface is changing very fast. That's the whole thing. Yeah. Okay, so I think PMP is done. Now I go back and I take uh, something. Okay, so could you clarify me what is the technical debt? Okay, so one thing is it's a metaphoric presentation. So there is a problem. You are working on technology and you see there is some imperfection. You have taken shortcuts. But how do you communicate about those shortcuts? So you are running a code and it is going to be demoed tomorrow. You face an issue. Yeah. And doing that issue fixing properly will take you 2 days. So what you do, you take some shortcut. Probably you don't do it proper 3 layer, 4 layer architecture. You just fix it on the front end or somewhere. Yeah. And you can say, I am taking a little workaround as of now. It will make sure code will work, but it is not good to maintain. It is not as per our design. It will be difficult to keep maintaining such kind of patches. So you apply a patch. So what you did, you take a patch. It's like a debt you have taken. So now, is it a bad thing to patch? It is needed because you want to give a demo tomorrow. Yeah. But if you keep that patch forever, then it's a bad thing. Your product may be full of patches. So the metaphorically, how do we present these things to our stakeholders? We are saying, guys, we need to take some debt here. We are taking a technical debt. But if the technical debt keep growing, at some point in time, we need to repay it. So I am taking a shortcut, but I need to do a repayment of it. Yeah. So that's a metaphoric way of presenting the imperfection in our code designs, which got added because of sometime we were not aware of the whole situation, sometime because of the purposefully you have taken a shortcut because of some limitations. Now, if I keep track of these things, then I plan for removing them, which is like a repayment of it. The metaphoric way of presenting it, if you maybe you can't remain debt free. Yeah, there will be some amount of debt in a current financial situation, but it should be manageable. But if it becomes too much, then you will not be able to manage it. Your EMIs, your monthly payments will go so high, then your products and service and everything will start stopping. Yeah, so that's the whole idea of technical debt. So imperfection spoken in the language of business, so that they are willing to give you time to repay their technical debt. Okay. Now, do we have any tool to decide on choosing right methodology like say Spotify less? So I am not aware where the tool is created only to select scaling framework. Yeah, that part may not be there, but there are frameworks to help you to decide predictive, adaptive, and hybrid kind of approaches. So like when you go for our PMI Agile practice guide, or when you go for PMP, in our current PMBOK 7 also, we have a domain which is called development life cycle, that talks about how to select a development life cycle by looking at the size of work, the constraints we have, the technology we are working in. And many times there are something called Stacy matrix, CanFin framework, which also works to give you the overall prescription. I'm not aware if there is a only specific for a scaling framework. Maybe that's a study people do, but not necessarily a very established framework which can help you to say, should I go with safe or should I go with less or something else, at that level. Okay, so that's here. So there is a question coming on Scrum of Scrum. Okay. So it's like this. It's a meeting in a simple word. Yeah, that's a meeting. It's a communication tool. Yeah. Now, what is this communication tool? As we have learned, in a Scrum way of working, we should have a small self-organized team so that they are optimized for collaboration and communication. What does it mean? You don't want to create a 20 people team, because in a 20 people, free flow of information may become chaotic. So you want to create a team where without much of rules and regulation, people can talk to each other, and that should be small enough. So as we have learned in our traditional project management term, communication channel, it is actually about that. So we need to keep our communication channel under control so that they don't create chaos. Now, in the agile way of working, when you want to have big teams, yeah, so how do we bring that? We can't have it. We need to have Scrum team only, which is a small team, 3 to 9 people, and Scrum master and product owner. So in order to create a big capacity, we create group of teams. So we can say, okay, let's create a small units and club them together, make a bigger unit. Yeah, and then this bigger unit will focus on bigger goal, but small units will focus on small goals, which will come together and prepare a bigger goal. So when we are working in that context, which means you may be having 3-4 Scrum teams which are working together, collaborating together, understanding the customer requirements together, and chasing a common goal. Yeah, that's the situation you are working with. You may need to do some planning to ensure that they have a common goal, and they need to have a common integration and delivery process. That's anyway needed. On top of it, you may want to have a close collaboration and coordination among them. So in order to ensure good collaboration and coordination amongst different Scrum team, you can say, guys, once in a week we meet together. That's a Scrum of Scrum. So once in a week, the representative from Scrum teams, once in a week or more frequently, you decide that frequency. Also, there is no like recommendation. You decide that frequency so that different representative for different teams comes together and they talk about how things are happening in their area, so that everybody knows about the overall progress, overall issues, and they can take care of their interdependencies. So it's a communication platform, it's a sharing platform, it's a collaboration platform where different team representative, usually Scrum Master, team leaders, or some technical people come together and they ensure good collaborative and transparent information exchange. That's called Scrum of Scrum. Yeah. So from a PMP perspective, we can say it's a part of our project integration areas. So we need to ensure that when we have a multiple Scrum team, the integrations are done well. And one of the tools to ensure good integration and collaboration could be Scrum of Scrum meeting. Okay, so that's the thing. We move. Okay, so we have another PMP kind of questions. So how the cost of non-conformance or cost of quality, etc., works in Scrum project. So a cost of quality has less to do with the life cycle. It's just a cost. Yeah. So you follow adaptive, you follow predictive. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Now, what is the cost of non-conformance? When you see a defect, when the customer or when the validations are happening, you find that it is not working as per expectation and it generates rework. That's a cost of non-conformance. You expected something, you are not meeting it. In a simple word, if I use agile terminologies to match it, you have a definition of done, you have a user story where you thought it is meeting all definition of done. When you started critically checking definition of done, it is not meeting, and it produce a rework, which is a cost of non-conformance. Yeah. So you can say that, yeah, we need to focus on that. Yeah, that's something is cost of non-conformance. Now, similarly, cost of conformance, same. Yeah, you focus on educating people, you focus on automation, you focus on training, following some coding guidelines. Those all is a cost of conformance. Yeah. So if we have a multiple Scrum teams and we are doing Scrum of Scrum, does it mean that we have a one product owner, we have a one Scrum master, or there could be a different product owner and different Scrum master? We don't know. That's, as a project manager, you need to decide as per PMP answer is. But that answer is there for a different framework of scaling. So that part also has flavors. Yeah, there is a one flavor called scaled agile framework. There is another flavor called large scale Scrum. Our PMP doesn't go into that much detail. It says you need to choose what works for you. You need to just ensure alignment and integration. We are not giving you a prescription to have one or many. That's up to you. As in project management space, we are not giving even a specific prescription for what kind of a roles you should have in a project team, who should do what. That kind of thing is very context sensitive, and PMI, or project management way of working, believes you need to find out depending upon your organization recommendation and the project context. So we don't know, but yeah, there is a, if you want to know how such kind of things work together, one of the most popular way of working of a multiple agile team in current time is called scaled agile framework. We have around 50 plus videos on scaled agile framework. If someone wants to just learn, you can look at how this problem is solved in safe in a particular way. We are not saying that's the only solution, but that's a one solution. Yeah, so they tell what is a senior scrum master, junior scrum master, or senior thing, and there is an integration, there is a planning thing. So the whole framework helps you in knowing it pretty detailed. If you just check our 7 essential safe videos, which may not take much time, you in the whole playlist we have these 7 videos first. That might be a good thing to do as well. Yeah. Okay, so good amount of PMP conversation today, I think. If anything else coming in from here. So I see some of you might have just joined in. The process is um, the of asking question is pretty simple. You just need to type it wherever you are. You are in a YouTube or you are in a LinkedIn. You just type it. It will reaches us, and we'll talk. Yeah. So I will reframe who will coordinate all outputs of individual Scrum. So we don't have a defined role, as I'm saying, for a PMP perspective, but for scaled agile, they have a role, something called different name. There is something called release train engineer. There is something called product management. There is something called system team. So there are roles there. But for PMI perspective, you need to find out how do you coordinate and collaborate here. Okay, so we move. In past 20 years of experience in waterfall type project, now as a market is changing, it is required to manage some projects in agile way. Great, I'm facing some difficulty in the in mind change way of thinking, or how to switch from waterfall to agile. Okay, and I know what is agile, but I am finding difficult how to start thinking in the agile way. So my recommendation is not to think that we have to follow agile because of some reasons, or it is a common, or it's a flavor of time. Think like that, since we are facing a challenge where our targets are moving very frequently, we are facing a challenge where it is very difficult to tell and predict what is going to happen after 3 months. So we need to do something where we can learn as we go. Yeah. Now because I don't know everything in advance. Our waterfall thinking is I can make a detailed plan in the beginning because I understand what is going to happen in next 6 months. The adaptive way of thinking is that I can't make a detailed plan because I don't know how the technology will turn up, how the requirements will turn up, how my team productivity will turn up, how my stakeholder satisfaction will turn up. We have very unknown space, we have very uncertainty attached to it. And since we have an uncertainty attached to it, we need to shorten the feedback loop. Yeah. So in our when I am certain, I can do things and I can check after a while. I know what I'm doing. But when I'm uncertain, if I'm walking on a slippery path, I want to have a short feedback. I want to take a small step and want to check it. Everything is good. Then only I want to take a next step. So my just mind is, and I'm sure all of us end up walking on a slippery surface many times. And we don't have to remind ourselves that I need to be agile here. We end up doing that because it is, we are not thinking in the format of jargons or terminologies. We are thinking, take small steps. Yeah, we don't know. You might hit something wrong. Just be careful. That's it. That's agile. Yeah. So remind your mind not to make assumptions of knowing and be clear that we are doing this because we have very, very unknown space. Yeah, that's something I can say here. Yeah. Okay, so could you clarify what are key metrics is which we can track in Agile and Scrum projects? So say matrices are the function of the type of problem I am facing. So the exact set of metrics and their importance will vary depending upon what is happening in your project team. That's a generic thing. Now, I like the scale agile way of classifying matrices. Yeah, it's not necessarily just only way, like flow matrices, outcome matrices, and capability or competency matrices. So you will also can follow these categories or grouping. So flow matrices, you need to find out how do I know my work is moving well? We are not blocked. Yeah, we are not taking more time. How our productivity is moving, how our quality is moving, how our defects are moving. All those kind of matrices which are more focusing on movement of output are called flow metrics in a way. Yeah. So you can focus on your velocity, you can focus on your burn down chart, you can focus on your the average number of defects per week. You can focus on the rework generated because of defects, and you can quantify it. All these are, or you can focus on cycle time, how much time it takes from moving from here to there. Depending upon the popularity or the need of your space, you can find out the flow matrices. Now, the outcome matrices. Outcome matrices are more focused on what you got by doing something. You produce a product, how satisfied stakeholder were from that product? Have you made the money? Yeah, was that particular product was helping us to earn more money or less money? How much was the uses of the product? So you can have a matrices which are based on product uses, customer satisfaction, revenue generations, depending upon your context, and we call it, they are like impact of your work. We usually call them outcome matrices. Then you can have some competency matrices as well, which are more talking about how competent and skilled your teams are. Are they happy? Are they sad? What kind of a collaboration is happening? What is a trust level in the team? So you can do a team assessments. Yeah. So there could be various types of assessments which are more focusing on the softer part of your work, which helps you in remaining sustainable in your future. So look at these three dimensions and see what are good in what are the need of your project. And based on that, you can pick up, yes, the easiest thing or usual thing, the most popular thing you see is flow matrices, output matrices like burn down chart, velocity and all. So that could be a good starting point, but you might want to see other areas as well. Okay, so during an iteration or PIE, some reasons our plans are not working out, and all the impacts all other teams have stopped, and it stopped for all other teams, and our ART can't deliver any value. So what we do? We don't know. Your ART needs to find out. Your team needs to find out what they should do. So say We may follow Scrum, we may follow project management, we may follow scaled agile. There could be millions of situations which we need to deal on a daily basis. These frameworks are written generically. There are millions of organizations and projects who are implementing it. These framework cannot give us answer for all those problems and all those contexts. The contexts are very unique. Sometimes you have a different set of people. For some organization, quality is very important because they are working in a compliance environment. In some environment, the delivery time is most important because they are working on fast delivery to market situation. So we cannot have a direct prescription for various scenarios. Now, what this framework tells is these frameworks also tells you principles that okay, guide your discussion and conversation based on some principles or beliefs, and that principle should help you in finding out the answer. So in case of scaled agile framework, such kind of issues should be guided by applying system thinking. We need to see the end to end, the overall approach. We also need to take an economic view. So we have two principles which may become very relevant when we are doing this discussion. What is economical here? How do we save money or make best money from the current situation? And when we need to think the overall system rather than a one team or a one particular impact. By looking at these principles, the key group, the key stakeholders who are relevant for this area, the people who have that information, depending upon the context in place, need to find out what they should do. Okay, so does PMPA still attract employers? So you can just check on job sites and see if the PMP is mentioned in the job profile. Because see, each one of you might be targeting different segment, you may have a different background, so it might be difficult to give a generic answer. But what we see is from our client space, the PMP and the education is support thing, not just the certificate. The whole process of preparing and analyzing all these context and thinking and touching that, for our clients, majority of them find PMP as a career transitioning transformation journey. Yeah, not a certificate alone, but the whole journey. So in our customer space, they are getting good value because our approach is not just limiting to getting a certificate, but we try to give little extra info, which usually helps. Yeah. So what are the matrices which can be showcased to senior management because they don't care about burn down chart, burn up chart, or velocity? So if you are saying so, it means the stakeholders are not interested in flow matrices. Now, what they are interested in? So what is my area of concern? Different people have different areas of concerns. And depending upon their areas of concern, you need to tell, how are you doing? Yeah. So someone might be worried about, guys, are we going to launch on this particular date? They just want to know that. Somebody may want to know that how likely are we to exploit this market opportunity? They may just want to know that. So usually the senior management might be more interested in two types of matrices. One is outcome matrices. What kind of outcome we are reaching? Are we making more money? Are we getting more adoption, more clicks, more visits, more download, depending upon what is your outcome of your product? Some organizations where outcomes are outside, means I am working for someone else and the money will be made by someone else, but my company just need to do something. Then I might be more focused on constraint metrics. Oh, are we doing it in a money? Are we going to doing it within a time? Because that's something, if I take more, it is just going from my pocket. So it depends what kind of scenario and who we are talking to. But usually the management, depending upon which type of management you are looking at, are more focused on outcome and sometime on constraints. Yeah? Constraints like budget, timelines, all those things. Okay. So we go one by one. What is the frequent impediment Scrum team facing? So say not all Scrum teams are same. Yeah. So, and not all organizations are same where the Scrum teams are operating. Yeah. So it could be a survey result where you can say we conducted a survey and they found these impediment. There is a possibility. But when you say what kind of problem a developer will face in order to deliver, so each developer has a different situations. Yeah. But yeah, there are some surveys where they talk about that these kind of things might be there. So what are the possible things which are commonly seen? Difficulty about understanding what is the requirement. Many times, you usually see the unclarity of requirement, unclarity of priority, lack of technical infrastructure, lack of technical competencies. So there is a possibility, but you should know, is it relevant for me? Because different environment may have a different problems. Yeah. Okay, so in UX design, we many times work on wireframe and UI and workshop with the clients and colleagues before packing all deliverables and insights into the agile user story. So, should we do it or should we not? That's something I think the question is. And I think it depends upon the nature of your product. And I do see some users or some areas, till the time these things are not clear, users may not be able to appreciate the user journey itself. So it might be valuable to have a user journey and understanding of how the user will flow with the help of wireframe or something before we can start creating fine grained user stories. But at the same time, let's not do it as a one go approach, but try to keep revisiting it. So, in the agile way of working, personally seeing as well as we do our own things as well, I also find whenever we are creating a new solution, new thing, I need to see the user journey. I can't just work on a one user story. Even before I think of making a user story, I need to know who is the user first, who is my customer, who is my customer segment, and what problem the customer segment or user is going to solve by using my application or things, and how possibly he will reach to me through Google search, through phone call, through email. So from where he is coming and how his journey will progress and where he will end. So I need to have that information at a high level, and then we start focusing on how can we materialize it. Yeah. So I do see the only thing is it is not something which is frozen. So we have it and then we incrementally review it. Whenever we are doing our sprint reviews and retrospective reviews, especially, we probably need to retouch that so that we understand how are we doing in our journey. So if we do redo the PI planning or keep going until next schedule, we need to do a retrospective about it. So if you continuously keep changing your PI plan and throughout the PI, so we probably need to find out why are we doing it. Yeah? So we need to do our continuous improvement and innovation to find out why we are doing it, and depending upon that, we need to fix it. The possible reason is that we may not be spending good time in innovation and planning iteration, and we may not be doing planning sufficiently. That's why we need to change the plan frequently. That could be a one reason. Or you might be working in such an environment where the PI duration is too long for you. The world is changing too fast, and every week you have a new challenge. You can't make a PI plan. In that case, probably you need to think something different than doing PI planning. Yeah, that could be another solution also. Can HR person change to project management? So if I'm an HR person and I want to get into project management, I need to see what is unique in me and what kind of projects will be needing me. Yeah. And definitely you can move. I have many customers who are moving from HR to project management, but they are primarily doing a lot of change management projects. Yeah. So it's like change management initiative. Many times those are done in a kind of a project mode or non-project mode as well, like where you need to organize a lot of training, facilitation, where people are moving from one way of working to another way of working, change like organization change, yeah, transformation and change. So yes, you can definitely move, but my advice would be make good use of your HR experience. And based on my client interaction, I have not done any study about HR, but based on my client interaction, I see the change management trainings and good kind of merger acquisitions or role like acquiring a lot of growth kind of organizations have a lot of initiatives, or I would say quote unquote projects, where HR skills plus project management skills are useful. So we have a lot of HR people in our groups doing project management studies as well. Yeah. So I'm working as a lead business analyst and have a 6 years of experience. I'm an engineer, MBA graduate. So what should we do next? Lead business analyst. I think it's good. Yeah. It's a good thing to continue. If you do a good business analysis, that experience itself will be first competency. So say when I am doing something direct contribution, my products are the first thing which will take me next. So that's the thing. Now what could be next? Product management, product ownership, rather than just doing business analysis, focusing on creating the business case, finding the need assessment, finding the pricing, finding the partnership. So going up, more close to the customer. So wherever you are, again, different organization define business analysis roles differently. But my view of growth is you go more and more near to the customer and market. The more near you are customer to the market, and then you are having the another chain which delivers it. You are giving feedback back. You are ensuring the things are getting done, and probably you are there to deliver the things as well. So the more up you go in your value chain, more impact you can make and more challenging your job will be. So the title could be product owner, product management, or something else, but that's the direction I think one can take. Now some of my business analyst colleagues who are not too much passionate about business analysis also decide to move towards project management. So that's another path I see. So one path is you go more and more near to the customer and you become product owner, product management. The another path is that say, oh, I understand the domain well, but I want to get into delivery facilitation and coordination rather than doing myself, and I keep doing some amount of business analysis. So that could be the another possible path. So I'm not getting this question, but you are saying so we can highlight constant and outcome matrices to the senior management to showcase me as a scrum master that my team is performing very good and it can be benefited to them. I don't know what is the question, but it is not my team, it's a team. Yeah. And maybe it's you are a part of that team. Yeah. So you belong to a group and your group is serving the organization purpose for they have been hired. Yeah. And if they are not serving, organization is there to solve their problem. That's the whole idea of metrics. We should know where we are. If we are not going where we want to go, we want to correct our direction. If we are going in the correct direction, then we are satisfied. We don't have to do an intervention. So if I am going in a right direction, then keep going. If you need more support from me, I will give it. If you are going wrong, then I also talk to you. Oh, what can we do so that you can go to a right direction? Okay. So I am a PMP and CSM certified. I am having SSM training tomorrow. I am worried that I could not get a salary that I feel I deserve. How do I move on these worries? I don't know. Yeah, it could be a little coaching case where someone can work with you. So maybe you want to get coached. Yeah, maybe you want to get coached, and I can connect you to have a specific coaching conversation. That's a one thing. But if you have any certification query, then we can talk. Worry, it could be real. It could be created by mind. So that coach can help you by talking to you. Yeah. Can Scrum Master apply for the role of an Agile coach? Why not? When you have a competency, you can. So the whole idea is not all Scrum Masters are doing the same job, and not all Agile coaches are doing the same job. There will be organization where Scrum Masters might be doing more activities and responsibility than in some other organizations Agile coach. Yeah. So maybe you can say there is the good amount of coaching is needed by the Scrum Master. Good amount of organization intervention is also needed from the Scrum Master. Now, you probably just need to know what is the overall competencies and things needed for agile coach. And if you are there, you approach there. Yeah. And if you are not, then you need to find out how in my current label called Scrum Master, I can do those activities which are usually done by industry asking for agile coach, and then you can do it. Yeah. Okay. If the person is becoming an IT project management, so should he learn to do a software development? See, till an extent so that you can empathize with the software development team and their challenges, not to an extent that you can teach and guide to the software developers who have been doing software development from last 10 years. You probably won't be able to instruct them. So if I am a manager and I am thinking that I will take a learning for a month and then I will teach my developers, then it may be too much. But if you are a manager and if you say I will learn for a month so that I can understand what these guys are going through and I can catch up their words, that's a great idea. So anything which means like it could be a domain which your product might be dealing with, you should know basic details about your industry, basic details about your technology, wherever you operate. But you should not be overconfident that by knowing it, I probably will start telling them what to do. Yeah. So the more we know about our area, it's good. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Okay. So in the agile scope is not constrained how the project charter, benefit management plan, business case, etc. are developed. So we need to see, you need to define it in your case. So that's the thing. That's the project management will say. So now, does the business case has a scope even in a predictive life cycle? It does not. The scope get created in a detailed manner quite later. When you start with the benefit management plan, it doesn't define the description of the deliverables. It only talks about what kind of a benefits we are expecting from this particular initiative. So in my mind, the benefit management and business case hardly changes agile way of working or non-agile way of working. There could be a little bit detailing difference, but the validation of business case is more frequent in agile ways of working. Yeah? So we end up validating fast because we deliver incrementally. In a predictive way of working, since our validation happens later, maybe we need to have a more detailed business case so that we know we are going in the right direction. Yeah? So it has less to do with the constant scope or not constant scope. The project charters, benefits, business case, even in a predictive life cycles are written at a very high level. They are not written at a detailed scope level. Rest, when we teach project management, we teach how exactly it turn out. But in general, summary level information is that they are more or less in the same way, depending, may have a different detailing, but there is no separate format for business case for agile and separate format for business case for predictive. The PMI is not even giving you any format prescription. They are saying the business case should be good enough to tell, are we doing right investment for the organization money? Yeah. So that's the whole idea. Okay. So as a PO, should I do checking story points delivered per sprint per developer, or should I only track the team velocity? So in general, these things are not part of product owner's responsibility, or in a general way, they are not part of anybody's responsibility. So see, the whole idea is, in a today's world, what is checking? Yeah. Checking is, I know something is right and someone is doing something. And if someone is not doing something, then I can cross it. If someone is doing right, I can take it. So in agile way of working, the right thing is not known. And when the right thing is not known, checking cannot be done. Yeah. So you don't check people. You don't check, have you done the right thing or not thing. But you ensure there is a feedback. We learn together. So the whole idea here is we need to have a feedback loops. We need to review our work. What does it mean? That we can say, okay, what was our last week? what were expected to be done, what we really produced, and how we should do differently so that we can produce better. Yeah. So I would say the productivity, the value addition, using organization resources well is a goal. And that is something in general is a scrum master's area of working or a project manager areas of working in general, depending upon organization may play here and there, but that's a more scrum master product manager's area of working. Now, once I have that, I need to probably have a monthly goal setting, weekly goal setting, and reviews and assessments, and finding out who has faced a particular issue, what was their learning plan, what was their earlier plan to improve and move forward. And based on that, we see what is working and what is not working. If someone is unable to meet their own agreed upon plan with the team, then we probably need to find out maybe a different kind of work for the person, or maybe some more trainings and more enablement. So we are not saying that we are blind about whoever is doing what. That is also a little extreme. At the same time, we can't just tell that do this else you are wrong. Yeah, so we can't be very sure that you should be reaching here else we will flag you down. That is also a little difficult. So it's more or less in between. So we take a feedback and we improve. Yeah. So do we have any videos on Agile Coach? Yeah, I think we have few. Yeah, if you put Agile Coach, we have few Agile Coach interview series also. I think 4 or 5 videos are there in that playlist. So if you say Agile Coach Eisenbridge, you can find it. Yeah, we do have few videos on Agile coaching. So I think that's what all we had for today. And I think it was more interesting on PMP today. But yeah, again, it looks like project management and other stuff became the topic today. Uh, okay, so I'm fine. I'm watching your lectures. I tried to get certified. How can I put myself so that I have a global level coach? I think it's just like you need to start somewhere and probably start sharing things, writing content, putting templates. Yeah, so all those things contribute. So how possibly you can contribute, find out, and that can definitely help you to take it forward. Yeah, yeah. So what is the difference between safe and safe agility? What benefit of agility to Scrum Master? I think the safe agility, you might be talking about a certificate called Safe Agilist. That's my sense is. It's a program. It's a 2 days program from Scaled Agile. And Scaled Agile framework is a framework. It is like a book. It's a book which helps you in bringing agility. Metaphorically, I'm saying it's a book. It's a kind of a knowledge base. Let's use the right word. It's a knowledge base which has lots of ideas, principles, practices, roles, which helps you in applying agile at a big scale, large team, and even at an enterprise level, portfolio till execution. So it helps you to do a horizontal scalability of agile, which is multiple team working for a common solution, and a vertical scalability of agile, so that the investment decision, business case till execution has an alignment. So we have a business case to execution alignment there. So that's a scaled agile framework. Now they have around 14 plus educational program, many, and one of the most popular program which gives you pretty comprehensive understanding of the whole framework without getting specific to any role is called Safe Agilist. So if you are talking about that, then it's a program. It's a 2 days program. Just to get a better understanding of SAFE, you can check our videos. If you want to go through a proper certification program, we definitely run these programs ourselves. So we do all this SAFE Scrum Masters, SAFE Advanced Scrum Masters, and all. Yeah. Okay, so again, there were some sharing. Hopefully, it gives you some ideas, and you definitely put your own research rather than just relying on my words. I just share what I know. I based on what I have been talking to people. I get some opportunity to talk to various participants, so I learn a little bit from them, and that I share here. So that's the limitation. We do have our programs for the coaching thing, as we discussed about particular stuff. We can also help you to get a coach connect and mentor connect. You just need to drop us an email, and the standard programs like PMP and Agiles are anyway available to you. Okay, so I think we are done. Yeah, it's time.
Yes, bang on the time. It's 8 p.m. Time for saying bye. Take care of yourself. And thanks for participating. Thanks for asking wonderful questions and helping each other. Thank you very much for joining this. We'll be back again on the second Friday of Feb, which is, let me just quickly check the dates. Yeah, it's 10th of Feb. So we'll be back on 10th of Feb. Same time, 7 p.m. on LinkedIn and YouTube. Take care of yourself. Bye for now.